This is the OSU Roundup, and we start as always with Cowboy head basketball coach Mike Boynton. It's a fun stretch when you have Syracuse, Ole Miss, Georgetown, Wichita State, Houston, Minnesota. It's fun for us that are watching it, but it's a challenging schedule, but that's also a good thing, I guess.
It's fun for me too. Not always easy, not always comfortable. But it's an opportunity to see us and what we believe we can make our program, and one that has the type of success that you associate with those programs. And the reason you associate those programs and those coaches with success is because of consistency at which they did it. So many years, Coach Boeheim, for instance, he was coaching before my parents thought about having me. And
probably.
And, you go on, and all these coaches have had such great success everywhere they've been. He's only been there, but it's a great opportunity for us to figure out how do we build consistent success. And I think we're in the early stages of doing exactly that.
Yeah, you're coming off a couple of tough losses at home, Georgetown, Wichita State, but you didn't have Isaac Likely, your starting point guard for that game. The only player in the country, I believe, who's averaging 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals a game. That says a lot right there. How have you missed him, just going beyond those stats? In what areas have you missed him the most? How's it impacted things?
Well, what Ice has, which is really, really unique, and I don't know if people can quantify this in their minds, he has an unbelievable level of competitive stamina. The more competitive the environment is, the better he is as a player, as a teammate, as a person. He just thrives in those moments. And so his presence, even more so than his numbers, was a big miss for us and still is in practices and just on a daily basis. And that's the reason he's going to be successful. And when we get him back, which we eventually will, that will be successful.
It's interesting. Sometimes when you go through a rough time like that and you're down a major player, you can learn things about your team that otherwise you wouldn't have learned. And it allows you to address those things. Is there anything specifically maybe you figured out without Isaac that you didn't know that may help you down the line?
Yeah, I think we found out as we're a team who does have multiple ball handlers. None of them are quite as effective as he is at the point of attack defensively, but they all have different attributes. The thing he struggles with, shooting the basketball, the other guys do a little bit better. Chris Harris, Keelan Boone, who've gotten a little bit more minutes here without him. But it's also an opportunity for those young guys to learn, in the line of fire. The way Ice did a year ago, that you have to have a certain level of focus, you have to have a certain level of consistent preparation in order to have success in these type of games.
You've been in the middle of finals week, which means the guys are dealing with finals, but in some ways that's a distraction. They've got to focus on that. What's finals week like? Is it any different when you're coming off a couple of losses? Can there be some benefit to the little bit of distraction, or how does that play out?
I don't know. I've dealt with both. I think it's always a little bit of the same, because the main priority is that they have as much opportunity to study and prepare themselves for the exams that they have. From a practice standpoint, we still have to stay sharp. We've got to continue to, as coaches, figure out what are some things we can improve on. We've taken some more time to watch film this week, and we'll continue to get ourselves prepared to play another really, really good opponent in Houston on Sunday.
Yeah, the Houston Cougars, your observations on them, what gets your attention?
They're very similar in a lot of ways to Wichita State. And that may not necessarily sound like a good thing, but we've also seen it now, the physicality necessary, that we have to be much more conscious as a rebounding team. We've got to do a better job just defending our paint and keeping guys out of there.
Yeah, they're kind of old school in some ways, aren't they? Kelvin Sampson's coached a long time, won a bunch of games, but they kind of had that old school look to them defensively and how they go about things.
Yeah, he hasn't changed much. The game has changed, but he's remained pretty committed to what he believed. And I think his experience coaching in the NBA for some years showed him that, okay, I see that the game is going this way, but you can still have an effect if you got unselfish, tough, hard-nosed players, and he's got a bunch of them down there.
And, of course, after that, game against Minnesota in Tulsa, a lot of buzz about that as you go over to the BOK Center and play.
I think it's a great opportunity for us to go into the backyard of, where we have a lot of great supporters, give them an opportunity not to have to drive the hour over here. It's close to the holidays, so maybe a Saturday afternoon they could bring their families with them and support our team, who's continuing to get better.
Stay tuned. Casey Kendrick and women's head coach Jim Littell coming up on the OSU Roundup.
ADM milling is really a part of the fabric of the Enid community. So if we were to have lost them, it would have been more than the 70 jobs that they employ.
OG&E, the City of Enid, and the Enid Regional Development Alliance were all great to work with. Not only does it allow for the growth of the new mill, but also the power is there to make that happen for the future.
Living with joint pain. Take the first step at mercy.net/cowboysortho.
Now that's crisp.
Crisp taste, brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light.
Welcome back to the OSU Roundup. Casey Kendrick now with Coach Jim Littell, head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowgirl women's basketball team. And Coach, we said last week that going into the A&M game, your preparation with Oregon and Louisville and the teams that you guys had played was definitely going to prepare you for that game. 18-18 after quarter number one, it really felt like that assessment was accurate.
Well, it was, but we went back on video and we had a lot of missed assignments and didn't run some sets right or some inbounds plays correctly, and you cannot waste any possessions when you play a high-caliber team on the road.
Help me out, Coach. When you see simple things that went wrong, things that you know the kids should know, but because there's so much inexperience, maybe they don't know. Is that comforting because it's just a matter of memorization and knowing where I need to be on the floor and reading it well? Or is it more frustrating because the little things are really what make the difference?
Well, we see when we go back on the tape how we can quickly get better, but it's frustrating at the time that we're forgetting to do some things. And we forget sometimes, and myself in particular, that a lot of these kids are new to the program, new to what we're trying to do. So we just got to keep grinding at it and coaching every day and trying to sell the idea to our players that every possession is very valuable.
In this game, you had two kids that really stepped up, got comfortable, at least on the offensive end for the most part and on the glass. Vivian Gray ended up with 19 points, 10 boards, and Natasha Mack had 19 points and 16 boards. And those two kids, no matter who the opponent, obviously A&M very good, they were right there for you.
They both played well, and Mack did a good job of scoring. In fact, got Sierra Johnson in foul trouble, and they had to go to a zone in the second quarter, which they stayed in most of the game. I thought another young lady played very well for us was Bryn Gerlich. Came off the bench and had a career high. Showed some patience offensively, took good shots, and we need that to continue out of Bryn, and we need to get some other kids to start getting in that 8 to 10 point area for us to be successful.
Yeah, there was your third double-digit score. Bryn Gerlich, as you said, career high 10 points. Coach, at halftime you're down by 4. The undoing in this game wasn't the start, it was the start of the second half.
It was. It really got away from us a little bit the last 3 or 4 minutes of the first half. We had a 6-point lead, and there was a 9-0 or 10-0 swing. So that's where it kind of got away from us, and we didn't attack the zone very well. We hadn't seen much zone, so that's been a point of emphasis this week in practice.
Coach, you guys, you always say this to us when we're talking about transition buckets for the other team. Well, you start really dampering and putting a criticism on your defense. But really, that transition game started with not so good offense on the other end.
Well, when you have bad offense and you take questionable shots, it automatically puts the other team in transition. So it's about us running good offense, and that'll help our defensive transition.
5 ties in this game, 9 lead changes. The Cowgirls come up a little bit short against Texas A&M. And, Coach, now it's about the remainder non-conference games. You have 3 very solid games, 2 very winnable Big 12 games, and I know that's way too far down the road for you. But you're getting ready for Southern, and here's a good opportunity to do that to kind of get your momentum back again.
It is, and we've got to help with the confidence level. We knew going in when we played some of these people with a young team that they were going to capture our hearts sometimes, and they did. You know, when Oregon came out with a strong start they did, and Louisville being as talented, it's about us getting better, but it's about having our players convinced that we've got a good ball club as well.
Duquesne, ORU coming up, but next December 17th taking on Southern. And finally, Coach, let's talk about finals. This week, no games because of finals. I know you guys are taking this opportunity to get on the road and recruit as much as you can, but talk to me a little bit about practice scheduled around finals. How do you handle this final week of this semester?
Well, when we played Saturday, we gave Sunday off for them to get ready for the Monday finals, and we shortened practices up on Monday and Tuesday. Gave Wednesday off. We'll go about an hour and a half on Thursday and Friday, and then we'll be done with finals, and we'll be able to get back to a little normal schedule.
Looking forward to seeing you guys back on the floor against Southern. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Casey.
Need to take a break. When we come back, there is a beautiful new facility. It's called O'Brate Stadium. We get an inside look with Coach Holliday. That's coming up next.
The end of the practice is when we do all of our intensity drills. She was going at it.
Stop. Right there. There we go.
If we win this, is the one way to get to the playoffs.
I know.
Whoa, that's crisp.
Crisp taste, brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light.
Welcome in. I'm Jessica Morey here with Oklahoma State head baseball coach Josh Holliday. We are here at O'Brate Stadium. We're going to get a tour of the latest updates. Could you ever imagine that one day Oklahoma State would have a baseball facility like this?
No, I really didn't. You know, baseball here in Oklahoma State has always been kind of what I was raised on. It's where I went to see my dad every day as a kid. It's where I went to watch my heroes play. I got to play here, which was a dream come true. But to have ever thought this would be the new home for Cowboy baseball, never dreamed this was possible. But with a lot of great people's help and Mr. O'Brate and his family believing in the value of baseball, the value of a college experience, and what this will do for our kids and our program long term, it is a reality, one that we're incredibly thankful for, because this is not a facility that very many college athletes or college programs ever have a chance to dream of, and let alone have be our new home. So when we get a chance to move into O'Brate Stadium in 2020, there'll be a lot of gratitude. There'll be a lot of days that we walk in here and say we are very, very fortunate that this is our new home. But a lot of people to thank for that.
Now we're heading down the tunnel to the field.
Yep, this is kind of a cool walkway. This will signify kind of that road from the locker room to the field. And with that being said, you're going to have a responsibility to play championship level baseball, which is what we signed up for. So when you come out here, right away you feel the presence of the stadium. You feel the impact of that second deck seating and your first look out upon the field. I mean, if this doesn't get you excited to play baseball, I don't know what would. So I can't say that I've ever, walked into anything and felt the pride that I feel when I walk into this.
And fans can mark their calendars for March 20th, 2020 against TCU. That will be the first opening weekend for O'Brate Stadium.
We know that we got to get off to a good start and stay focused on the initial part of the schedule, and then the transitional time over to O'Brate Stadium will be awfully exciting. And from there, I think there's a lot of potential with this year's team to play great baseball and hopefully bring new moments and new excitement to this ballpark that we can all enjoy.
Well, thank you so much for the tour, Coach. I can't wait to see it when it's all finished.
Okay, been my pleasure.
We're about ready for baseball. The right-hander in the line, the pitch.